It's Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Lots to talk about today. Markets across the board up. Everything is soaring. Everything is booming. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification down below. Let's get into today's video. I want to start first. Texas Silver is dropping a video this evening, and he had a really interesting story to tell, a situation while he was having dinner with Bill Holter last night. So it should be a good video. Make sure you check out Texas Silver. Also, I was watching Jack Morgan today, and check out Jack Morgan's channel also. Really good channel, good guy. And he was showing a lot of TikTok videos. And there was a TikTok video in his video today that he showed where this gentleman is at a Shell gas station walking around, and he's showing the pumps from the previous purchase: a $5 purchase, a $10 purchase, a $12 purchase, a $20 purchase. And so it's a real indication of the condition of the average consumer right now, where people are only putting in $5, $10, $15 of gasoline into their cars in this booming economy. So I thought that was really interesting, eye-opening. And he showed another video where a woman was going nuts because she's working 4 jobs and going to school, and she's barely keeping her head above water. So he really showed some interesting videos. Jack's got a really good channel, so check that out. Jack also said this, and I want to end it with this. Jack says that he's the type of guy that will do what it takes to get ahead. And that's really, I think, great advice today as we talk about what's happening in the economy and the average consumer. Is people are going to have to do whatever it takes to just survive. You're going to have to do whatever it takes to get ahead, to survive, to eat, to pay the bills. This is where we're at. Get ready. People are heading into survival mode, but there's people out there that won't work a second job or a third job or a fourth job like this woman was doing. And these people, they're going to get destroyed. They'll be decimated. But it's amazing when people get hungry and when the government subsidies stop, if they ever do, watch how fast people will go to work when there's no free food, there's no EBT, there's no SNAP, none of this stuff. If this stuff ceased to exist today, watch how fast millions of people would somehow find some type of work to feed themselves. Now, getting into the video here a little deeper, Dow closes higher by more than 400 points as April jobs report bolsters Fed rate cut hopes. So the good news, or excuse me, the bad news now is good news for the markets. But, you know, I just don't think, because we're going to see unemployment continue to rise little by little. I think it's much higher than we're being told. We know that the data is very manipulated, but now all of a sudden that if the job market slows down, all of a sudden the Fed is going to cut rates. I don't think I believe that. And this is why home prices are sitting at all-time highs, even though they're not selling. Rent at nearly all-time highs. Insurance costs, health, auto insurance, all-time highs. Food prices, you go to the store, all-time highs. Look what you're paying for gasoline. I'm paying $5.15 for a gallon of regular out here. And of course, markets at all-time highs. You're going to see the Dow Jones break 40,000. How in the world is the Federal Reserve going to justify cutting rates because the job market is slowed down? Not going to happen. In fact, if it does slow down, I still believe that they're not going to cut rates. I still believe that there's a very good chance they're going to have to raise rates. Here's where the jobs are for April 2024 on CNBC here. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but I'll give you the gist of it. The number one job for the month of April was in healthcare. Healthcare added 87,000 jobs. And of course, we have lots of obese, sick people here in America. But most of these jobs, you might think because it's in healthcare, it's paying well. Most of these jobs do not pay well. These are in facilities, care facilities, retirement facilities. A lot of this is part-time, low-wage jobs in healthcare. Second, transport and warehouse, 21,800 jobs. Retail trade, 20,100. The government added only 8,000 jobs. I find that kind of amazing because we've been seeing the last few months that government jobs were up there like, you know, second, third highest on the list. And this is what's really interesting. And let me know your thoughts on this. Leisure and hospitality only added 5,000 jobs in the month of April. This to me is very, very strange because if you follow this like I do, typically when we get the job report, leisure and hospitality is usually the top 1 or 2 jobs added for the month. It's always leisure and hospitality and maybe healthcare. Those 2 usually are the top 2. And most of the time, it's leisure and hospitality that's added the most jobs. And here we are heading into summer, and we only added 5,000 jobs in leisure and hospitality. And of course, these are part-time, low-wage jobs themselves. But why did leisure and hospitality slip so far? Is this another indication of how bad the economy is, that people aren't going out to eat as much, they're not going to resorts as much, they're not traveling as much, so these leisure and hospitality jobs, they're not adding as many. One interesting data point today, we have lost more full-time jobs since last August to today than we have created. Not a good sign. And yet they keep telling us how great everything is. And what's really fascinating is, you know, the jobs report came in lower than expected, and yet the detached stock market surges today, which is pretty fascinating, isn't it? So bad news is good news. So we added 175,000 jobs for April, and they were expecting 240,000. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I do believe no matter what the numbers are, we have a very serious inflation problem in America, and they better start raising rates. And this government better stop spending money. We're going to be we're in big trouble right now. And in fact, I don't think there's any going back. There's no going back to any type of normal, but they are going to worsen this depression if they don't get this thing under control immediately. The Hedge today, buy all the things. Poor payroll send rate cut hopes soaring. Isn't it amazing that this is all it takes to get the stock market to soar, is just the hope of a rate cut? Not that, you know, people are making more money, the economy's booming, we're manufacturing more, we're opening more businesses, the GDP is going up, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just that we need a rate cut, and this is all it takes. If you need any evidence that the stock market and the U.S. economy are completely disconnected, look no further than what you're watching right now today with these markets. Poor payrolls, again, sending markets soaring. Stock market doesn't care about you, doesn't care about your job, doesn't care if you're going to lose your house, doesn't care about your standard of living. It cares about rate cuts. The markets are addicted to the cheap, easy money. Rate cuts now back on the table. The debt heroin junkies of Wall Street are begging for a hit as equities are overvalued by 70%. That was a comment today on the Hedge. Thought it was pretty interesting. Wanted to add that. I will say this: if they cut rates, and it's possible, the middle class and most of America is done. Big trouble. And as you know, the middle class is being decimated right now. The poor decimated. It is getting more and more difficult for anybody in the middle class or poor people to go to the store, shop for food, put gas in their cars. Jack Morgan's show clearly showing you people putting $5, $10 of gasoline in their car. You know, I'll go to an ATM every once in a while and I'll see an ATM ticket on the ground and I'll just pick it up out of curiosity. And it's amazing to see somebody with $20 in their bank account or zero. That's what I'm seeing. Very rare to see anybody with more than $1,000 in their account. Most of the time, it's under $100. I've seen them at zero. So it's going to get much, much worse, especially for the middle class and the poor if they raise rates. It's going to get bad no matter what. They don't raise rates, we're in trouble. If they do raise rates, we're in trouble. Pick your poison. CNN. Rue 21, a mall staple, files for bankruptcy and will close all of its stores. Markets up today ignoring this. This is a big deal. The teen apparel store is done, closing all 540 stores. 540 stores within weeks. This store employs 4,900 people who are out of a job. They're over $200 million in debt right now. Think about this is 540 vacancies coming within weeks, and nearly 5,000 people now don't have a job. This is really bad. Not a word of it today on the television. This coming from CNN today. Here's some more bad news. I'm sorry I don't have anything good for you today. I'm just talking reality, and it gives me no satisfaction to report this to all of you. I hope that you take action. I hope you're preparing. I hope you're doing everything you can to avoid an emergency, having some cash put away, having debts paid down. This is the best way to prepare for this right now. More people are about to lose their jobs. Nobody is immune from losing their job. As we get deeper into this summer, I think we're going to see record numbers of people losing jobs. Irvine-based electric vehicle company Rivian slashing jobs for second time this year. This was sent to me by a friend of mine today. And Irvine, California, beautiful area. Hundreds of people. I think, if I remember correctly, it was around 400 people going to lose their jobs. Rivian stock year to date is down 52%. How long do they have? And what about these people working for this Irvine company in Orange County, California, that are losing their jobs? Not good. They have house payments. They have credit card bills. They got to feed their families. This is going to get much, much worse the deeper we get into summer. And we talked about this yesterday. Starbucks is running out of Americans to drink its expensive coffee. They've just been getting beat up all year. Me personally, I don't even get a coffee at McDonald's now. I don't go to I've never go to Starbucks. Like I said, I've probably gone there 3 times in my entire life. Every once in a while I would go to Dutch Brothers, but I don't do it anymore. I have not gone out for a coffee for a very, very long time. I make my own. Much cheaper, much better. But all these people that were paying $8, $10, $12, for a specialty coffee at Starbucks, it's over for a lot of these people because people have to make a decision. Do I pay my electricity bill or am I going to Starbucks 3 times a week? And most people are deciding and choosing to pay their electricity bill. So we're going to see what happens in this world of Starbucks, what's happening to McDonald's, what's happening to these fast food chains now where prices have just absolutely skyrocketed, especially here in California. Me personally, I'm tightening down the hatches and I'm really starting to pay attention to where I'm spending my money. I'm eating out less. I'm not buying coffees at Dutch Brothers or McDonald's anymore. It's gone. And like I said, most of the time I make most of my food right here at the house. There are times where I do go out, but I haven't even really gone to a really nice restaurant in a long time because I think it's such a waste. Yeah, if I'm in a jam and I got to grab lunch, I'll do that. But breakfast, dinner, I make myself 99% of the time. But lunches, if I'm out, if I'm traveling a little bit, if I'm just, in a hurry, I will grab lunch, but I'm doing that less and less. And I think a lot of people are doing it less and less. Market Insider, hard to find a job that pays well. So it's going to get more difficult. It's very obvious, right? It's going to get more difficult to find a good paying job. And I said this many, many months ago. If you have a good job, if it's paying you well, do everything in your power to keep it. Do a good job. Take pride in that job. Show up early, leave late. These are going to be rarities in the job market to find a good, well-paying job. So if you have one, maybe you don't like it, maybe it's not your passion right now, I would keep it for a while. I would do everything I could right now to keep it. If it's paying the bills, it's a good paying job, do what you need to keep it. We're going to see, as the economy worsens in this depression, I'm calling it a depression now. It's officially a depression we're in. They will not even admit it's a recession. We're in a depression at this point, in my opinion. As more people lose their jobs and as there's less availability to jobs, these companies out there are going to start paying less. Remember before when we had the whole health crisis and, companies were paying whatever to get people and it's a crazy world. Now it's going to turn into the opposite. Now they're cutting people. If you want to work for a company, they're going to try to get the best deal. They're going to try to get the most for their money. So they're going to try to pay you less and probably make you work more. That's what's happening. So if you have a good job, keep it. But this is how the market works, right? When you have a lot of people out of work, a lot of companies laying off, a lot of companies closing down, the employers can pick and choose who they want. And if you don't want to work for, $34,000 a year, they're going to find somebody that does. So when people get hungry, they're going to take jobs they never thought that they would do. They're going to work for wages they never thought they would work for. Small businesses are racking up credit card debt, raising some concerns. This is on Fox Business today. So why are they racking up credit card debt? Well, again, we have an inflation crisis taking place. And you have to ask yourself, what if the Fed does cut rates and there's more inflation? What are small businesses going to do as we begin to see hyperinflation quite possibly take place if the Fed begins to cut rates? Right now, the cost to borrow money is extremely high if you can even get approved. And it's forcing a lot of small businesses to go to credit cards and racking up more credit card debt at 23+% APR. I don't know how long this is going to go on, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we're going to see a lot of damage and a lot of carnage take place in this country because this economy is really beginning to seize up. Homes are not selling. Commercial real estate is in an apocalypse. Restaurants are dying daily. Retailers are getting crushed. It is just extremely bad. The worst economy I've ever seen in my lifetime. Let me know, is this the worst economy you have ever seen in your lifetime? This is bad. And unfortunately, I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. This is going to get much worse. I think the writing is on the wall. There are so many uncertainties out there. The deficits are so big. The debt is so big. I don't even know if we can even recover. The question is now, how bad will it get? How long will it last? And, as Bill Holter said, it's about losing the least amount. He who loses the least wins. So right now, it is about protecting what you have. Many Americans still feel bad about the economy despite strong data. CNBC. Why do they feel bad about the economy while the data is telling us otherwise? Because the data is fake. You know it. I know it. I'm sure most people at CNBC know this also. The data is fake. There is no way that anybody now can believe that the consumer is strong when we have over $20 trillion of household debt, when 80% of working people are living paycheck to paycheck, when half this country doesn't even have $400 in cash saved up, and yet every day on the television, they're telling us the consumer is strong. The economy is booming. And we see another retailer closing 540 stores, Starbucks struggling, McDonald's struggling, all the fast food joints struggling, malls are closing, nobody's showing up at the office buildings, layoff. And yet we're supposed to believe everything is good. Give me a break. Again, start thinking for yourself. I don't have all the answers. I just take whatever action you think is necessary. But if there's one thing I hope everybody's doing, it is thinking. It is asking questions. Are things really that good? Is the consumer strong? How are my finances good? We got to be asking questions. Are things as good as they're telling us? We've got to start thinking for ourselves. Do you trust the system? Do you trust all your money being in the system? Do you trust somebody managing your money? Or should you be managing your money? Should you be getting your money out of the system or a large portion of your money out of the system? Do you believe that the US dollar is going to be the one and only world currency 10 years from now? Do you believe America is going to be the dominant superpower 10 years from now? Do you believe that we're going to get out of nearly $35 trillion of debt in the next 10 years? Or are we going to have $80 trillion of debt? Will our dollar be the next peso? Where's this all going to be? If you believe it's going to improve and get better, then God bless you. Invest in the stock market. Save up all your cash. Don't buy gold. Don't buy silver. Invest in the system. Keep all your money in the bank. Me personally, I'm betting against the debt. I'm betting against the system. We're watching the system overheat. We're watching the Federal Reserve now in a place where it cannot escape. If they raise rates, they're bringing in the greatest depression the world has seen. If they cut rates, they're going to bring in hyperinflation to America, which we've never seen before and which we will never recover from. We have big trouble. So I hope everybody's at least thinking. I hope everybody's taking some sort of action. Here's one today. I will finish with this one coming from the Daily Mail. The most dysfunctional state in America, what is it? What state in America, we have a lot of them, most of them are, but what is the most dysfunctional state of them all? It's Illinois. Soaring unemployment, skyrocketing debt, and punishing taxes send residents fleeing. And while they're fleeing, migrants are coming in, sleeping in police stations, sleeping at O'Hare Airport, sleeping in shelters throughout the state and the city of Chicago. Illinois residents are departing, the public pension debt is ballooning, and the state is struggling to add jobs. How can you add jobs when everybody's leaving? Nobody wants to be there. They don't want to pay your high taxes. They don't want to live in a crime-riddled state or a city like Chicago where they fear for their lives. Pension debt in Illinois, $150 billion with a B, $150 billion of pension debt. And this debt exploding while the population of Illinois is declining. So when people are leaving, the population is declining and the debt is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the crime is getting more and more out of control. And you have people from all over the world coming to the state of Illinois, mainly Chicago. And taxpayers are having to pay for this. How in the world, somebody explain to me, how is this sustainable? How do you sustain this? People leaving, debts are ballooning, pension debt ballooning, and you've got to take care of all these people from all over the world coming to your state and your cities. 110% unsustainable. It is just unbelievable. And the next question is, how safe are these pensions? Are these pensions going to be there for these people 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Will these pensions even exist? How are these pensions going to survive when the tax revenue is leaving a state like Illinois? And there's many other states in the same situation, but Illinois is the worst. How are they going to survive? How do these pensions survive, not just in Illinois, but many other states in the same boat, when your tax base is leaving? That means they're not in that state paying taxes, sales tax, state income tax, nothing. They're not working there. They're gone. And you have $150 billion with a B dollars in pension debt. This is probably going to end bad for a lot of people who are very dependent on their pensions. They're going to retire at whatever age. They're going to ride off into the sunset. They've got their pension, and they're going to move down to Florida, and life is going to be great. What if your pension gets cut in half? What if they take 75% of your pension and say, hey, look, we're broke. We can only give you 25%. These people will have to work till they die. They'll be working till they're 90 years old. And what if, worst case scenario, you get a letter, and the pension says, hey, we're now bankrupt, and sorry, you're out of luck, but we have no money. We're insolvent. So we got some bad news. You're going to have to go back to work. You're on your own. Nothing we can do about it. God, good luck. God bless. That's probably how it's going to end for a lot of people at some point down the road here. We're a bankrupt nation. We're going deeper into bankruptcy. We're running huge pension debt, huge deficits, a huge federal debt, unfunded liabilities, Medicare, Medicaid, all that. We are around $190 trillion in debt. So I would say don't rely on your little 401ks. Don't rely on your pensions. I would take some sort of action, and I would be outside of the system, maybe putting a little gold, a little silver away, something to fall back on, because at least you have a little something to fall back on versus zero. Because if your pension goes under, you're going to be in big trouble. But this is becoming more and more of a possibility. But of course, they're never going to talk about it on the television because they don't want to rattle the markets. They don't want to rattle the American people. They want you to keep paying into those pensions. They want you to just, keep living the dream, buying cars, buying houses, running up the credit cards, and believing that, 10 or 20 years from now when you retire, you'll be riding off into the sunset, maybe moving down to your, condo in Florida and living the dream. I think people better prepare for the nightmare that is going to be greeting them down the road. Because if we continue on this track, which it looks like we're going to do, we're going to be living through a massive nightmare. And it's not going to just be a temporary nightmare of 6 months or a year. This could be a nightmare for decades. That's if we could even recover from the damage that's already been done. And we're going to see more and more damage in the next few months here. I'm going to leave it there today. It's a scary time. It's a very concerning time. Again, it gives me no satisfaction to talk about this stuff. I've said many, many times, I'd rather be, driving around in a Ferrari filming, car videos at Cars and Coffee and having fun. But I'm very passionate and I care about this country. I care about the people. They're being bamboozled, they're being fooled, and they're being lied to. And a lot of people are going to get hurt. So be preparing, think for yourself. Do your due diligence, do your homework. The numbers that they're giving us are completely fabricated. When you look at your bank account, your checking account, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the gas pump, when you take the kids out for something to eat, when you go see a movie, when you go do something, how much it's costing. And people are shaking their heads. How long can they continue cutting things out? It's like you can only cut so much out of your life. You can only work so many hours. And it's just not enough anymore. And we're seeing more and more people moving in with one another, people moving back in with families, anything they can do to cut something out. But how much farther can we go? Prices of everything just seem to keep going up. And it seems like we're going to keep writing checks for $95 billion to send to other countries. They want to raise capital gains to like 46%. They want to raise your taxes. It's not going to work. It is just destroying the middle class and the poor. And at some point, people are going to wake up and realize that they got nothing. So I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below on anything you want to comment on, any of these articles. Anything that you want to let us know about. There's a wealth of knowledge in those comments. I want to thank everyone for commenting because you've woken up so many people. Keep them coming. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there. Be careful. Exercise situation awareness. Get yourself in shape. Be training, ladies and gentlemen. Hard times. These are the good times right now. We're heading into very, very hard times here in America. Most people have no clue what's about to happen. You do. Get ready.